up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Colonel and most handsome dad, Garrett Morlang, and here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and Pocket Poppy, Adrian Homeboy Holmes. How is it going?
That be me. I'm doing all right, man. And let me tell you, it was a heck of a Monday, but I lived.
Monday's gonna Monday, you know.
And now I'm here at my favorite part of Monday, and one of my favorite things to do during the week.
Oh,
is hang out with you,
of course,
and talk some vidges, man.
Talk some video games. Always a good time.
Yeah, been good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm going to tell you something wild right now that I don't know if I should say, but I'm going to say it.
Okay. All right.
I found a new way to make a little extra cash on the side. You know, tough times, unemployed still. Unemployment
Did you get
doesn't
tested
pay
first?
out too much. So you're no, I mean that's what they do afterwards. So we friends of my wife, Trudy, told her, because this is the wildest thing, that hey, there's this lab in the area that is looking for.
Are you donating swimmers, dude?
No,
really?
no, I'm not doing that. No, looking for urine samples.
Oh,
just
I was like,
men.
I mean, you're doing a noble act. There's a lot of kids.
No.
There are a lot of couples that can't have kids, so I respect it. I was just like, man, you putting that out there?
Just a whole bunch of pee, dude. They pay $10 a liter, dude. It's
do what you got to do.
I'm already doing it anyways, you know. Might as well.
What you gotta do. I don't care what you were gonna say. I was just taken aback that you were gonna say that.
No, I was not gonna say that. No, this is the wildest thing. I don't know. I know maybe that's oversharing, but you know what? That's content, baby. That's what makes this absolutely wild and entertaining.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and one of my kids has been doing this because he's been wanting to save up for some toys, and I'm like, get a job. And then
he's like,
someone told us about this. I'm like, here's your chance, dude. You want that Pokemon, whatever? Like,
okay. Wait a minute though.
Yes.
How much are you making? Is it worth the effort?
I mean, in like 2 days, I'm making like $40.
Okay, I mean.
But it's for something I'm already doing.
It's a tank of gas. It's a lunch. You know,
it's something I'm already doing.
Groceries.
I mean, in a week, if I really just chug a bunch of water and work really hard at it, I can easily make over like $100 in a week. That's pretty good.
You're gonna desalinate your blood. You're gonna thin it out. Drinking that much water.
No way, man. Drinking all the liquid IVs and hydration drinks, and I'm just.
You got to be careful. Those are full of salt. Now you be doing the opposite. Those are chock full of sodium.
Whatever it takes.
That's nuts. I appreciate that you didn't tell me that until now.
Is that TMI? Probably, but you know
it's too late. It's out there. It's on wax
now. I sell my pee.
That's going to be a factoid on your lore sheet, right? On your character sheet.
He one sold pee. There's some experiment in the Midwest where they're like they needed a control group. They're working on like pregnancy test or something, and obviously, you know, generally males don't get pregnant, so they need control pee, and I'm like, I got just the stuff for you.
Garrett Morlang, host Super Gamer Boys, loves Metal Gear. Peace for money.
Peace for money. No, I don't know about that.
It's too late. It's too late.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you pee for money, dude. That's what it is.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, enough toilet talk. I'm sorry, I took us there. As this is a Super Gamer Boys pod. We're just a couple of boys, and at the end of the day, we're just a couple of boys.
Fair. You know? But you do pee for money, like in a roundabout way. In a roundabout way.
Oh man. No, sorry, I'm not starting any weird like OnlyFans or anything like that.
I was gonna say you could pee for a lot more money if you did that. Actually,
don't even ask. Today,
I'm just throwing that out there.
Today we're going to be talking about Switch 2 release rumors, Xbox's next game headed to PlayStation, and Red Dead Redemption's PC port accidentally announced by PlayStation. That's right. It's been an interesting week. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Bumple Smash, Kajuma01, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates, Mama Mare, Carrie, and David Matthews. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us over there, starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1 for an entire month of Patreon exclusive ad-free content, whether it's this show or our Patreon exclusive show. You can only get it there. Super Later Boys, early season Super Gamer Book Club. We got some fun stuff coming for you, and different perks at different levels. So think about checking that out. We'll talk more about that later on the show. If you want to know more, just listen to the ad in about an hour. You'll know a lot more about it. Other than that, I do want to give a huge shout out to Jack, Sriracha, Yate, and DJ Trooz for allowing us to use their music on the show tonight. We should be listening to Yate and Jack Sriracha. Some good stuff over here. So make sure you go find them over on Spotify and Apple Music. Links will be in the show description. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on podcast later, click that link, listen to their music, and enjoy the good tunes. And now it's time to check the mail. But this week, it's another weird week.
Rancher in the house.
We didn't get any like typical mailbag questions through the Discord. Instead, one question, we'll hit this one first real quick. I was texted to me by a friend of mine. And they wrote.
Is this the first? This is the first text-in question.
I think this is one of the first texted-in questions. So if you have my number, just text me a question. So I may or may not remember to answer it on the show. This one I did because it just happened yesterday. It happened like right before I could do show notes, so it worked out. Otherwise, don't do that because guaranteed I'll read it and totally forget about it.
Fair.
Here's a good question for me. This is from Russ. Let's say. Have you covered Stormgate yet? I watched some of a playthrough and man, hard to watch after all the work they put in. I guess an alpha dropped, so a lot of streamers picked it up, including the old StarCraft 2 Pro I watch. I'd been excited. Again, these are text messages. It wasn't meant to be a formal question, but he did ask like, I'd be interested to hear about what your thoughts on it. I'd been excited for it, but it's just so bland, I guess. I was like, okay, I had not heard of Stormgate. I looked it up. It is made by ex-Blizzard devs, and it is an RTS, real-time strategy game. So think Warcraft, think StarCraft, that type of game. It's free to play. It's in early access still. It's not fully released, but as of August 13th, it is in early access, available on Steam. So I give it a try. I was like, you know what? It's free. That's a pretty good price. I'll give it a shot. I didn't put a ton of time into it. I'll be honest. I only just played the first few chapters. But here's my thoughts, my short, quick thoughts on this to answer you, Russ, and anyone else who's curious. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt because it is early access, and they've even said in their patch notes they're planning on adding a lot of graphical enhancements. Like during cutscenes, there's dialogue, like there's voice acting, but their mouths don't move, and the animation's kind of janky and weird. So I'm like, all right, I can forgive that. If they're gonna fix that later, it's fine. But I am right there with Russ where he said I had been excited for it, but it's just so bland. Immediately I jumped in and it starts with a cinematic, which I'm like, this feels like a Blizzard cinematic. Honestly, it felt like classic Blizzard. Don't think Diablo 4 level cinematic, but I think early 2000s or even late 2010 early to mid 2000s where World of Warcraft and different cinematics coming out. It kind of felt reminiscent of that. I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is really interesting. It seems like a cool way to set this world up. And then it just jumps into this game that just, it felt very bland and just vanilla and not very exciting and just controlling a couple little characters and didn't really have any anything exciting about their special abilities or anything like that. So again, it's early access. I didn't play a ton of it, just like the first 2 or 3 chapters. I'd be curious to jump in and do like a full scale like battle. Like I want to use more units. Like basically in the story mode, I've just only controlled like a couple of the characters, specific characters. Like, so it's not even like, here's a unit. It's like, oh, here's just, a couple characters to run around with. I'd be curious to see if it opens up more. Again, it's early access. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I might even try it again and do like another 2 or 3 chapters just to give it a try. But initially I was not super impressed with what I played either. And what scares me is the free to play aspect of it, honestly. Only because, they could be different. They're a newer indie studio, Frost Giant Studios. This is their only game, their first game. So it very well could be different. It could be a good free to play game, but that has not been the case most of the time. Most free to play games are nickel and dime you for every little thing. And so the first thing I thought of is like, oh, okay, every time I want to play as a new army, it's going to be like, well, here's $10 more to unlock this army, or unlock little, like all this like extra DLC and missions and stuff. I'm like,
they are Blizzard devs, or they are ex-Blizzard devs, so it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I know, that's like my worry. I'm like, it's already kind of in their DNA a little bit. I would almost rather spend, if it was a good game and was done, what was out of early access, it's like, okay, yeah, let me pay $40 for it, like don't make me like, I don't know, the free to play always is scary until it's out 100%, like 1.0 is out, it's fully released. I'm kind of shaky on it, so I don't know. Play it for yourself, and you can make your own decision and thoughts. Obviously, I'm not telling anyone what to think, but my initial thing was like, I didn't go into it with any hype. And so it's not like I was disappointed, but I definitely wasn't impressed either. So I feel like that wasn't, if anything, that was probably the best way to go in, because like he went in hyped and was disappointed. For me, I went in and was kind of like, it's whatever. So it's good for me, bad for the game, like that it didn't hook me, because I like RTS games. Like I'm big time, like, I liked Warcraft back in the day. I love like Warhammer Dawn of War is one of the best RTS in my opinion. Age of Empires, obviously a classic, like all those games I love. So yeah, I don't know. Have you heard of, you haven't heard of this Stormgate at all, right?
No, I know of Warcraft, of course. So if it's in that same vein, I'm not surprised that, ex-devs that worked on Warcraft decided to make Warcraft again.
Is this the one? I might be totally off base on this. Is this the one they had at the Game Awards? And wasn't what's his name from Marvel came out and it was like voice acting in it?
Anthony Mackie?
No.
Who?
I might be totally off base on that. Why can't I remember the name of? I don't even remember the name of the superhero. I don't even know if
he was there. Anthony Mackie was there for something. Remember he was doing the chat app.
It's oh dang it. No.
Keep talking. I'll Google it. Go.
I don't know why I can. No, I'm just trying to think. I can't even think of the superhero name.
No, it's
the
too
actor's
late.
name.
Let me see. Game Awards, Marvel actor.
I could be totally off on that. I just feel like I have this memory of this actor talking about a game at the Game Awards and even there being unimpressed. Like being
was it this last year?
Yeah, this last year's. Shang-Chi. What's the actor who plays Shang-Chi? That's what I think.
He
was there at the Game Awards.
Simu Liu.
Remember he was in a cast. He has an arm in a cast.
Right. That's probably who you're thinking of then.
Yeah, and he came out, and I think he's in this game, which is, or a game that was coming out. I thought maybe it was this one, but I don't really know. Who knows? I guess I can look it up. What's Star? I wish I could remember the name of this dang game. See, that's how little of an impression it made on me. I can't remember the name of the dang game. Anyways, that's it. That's all. That's my thoughts on the game. If you guys are enjoying it, let me know. Because I'd be curious to hear why. Because maybe I'm missing something. I could be missing it. Stormgate, that's what it is. We can move on to the next question here. Oh yeah, that is so. He is attached to it somehow, but I don't know if he's actually in it. Maybe he just was announcing it. There's the next question. There's another form submission from the one, the only Ranger. He says, Ranger here, let's get to it. I have to say it's absolutely criminal that Adrian has not played Final Fantasy 16. How is this something that exists in today's day and age? Being that Adrian is a Final Fantasy connoisseur, how has he not played Final Fantasy 16? So many people online seem to want to pit 16 and Rebirth against each other, but they are vastly different for so many reasons, and that's what's made both of them so special. Final Fantasy 16 quickly became one of my top 3 games of 2023. Adrian, it's time to board the train. You played through the demo, right?
I played through the demo,
and then you had to get rid of your PlayStation.
Right, which is what really held me up for a long time. I had a pretty big gap where I didn't have one. And then I recently got one again in the last few months, and I got Final Fantasy 16 while it was on sale. And then I started playing the first few hours of that, which I enjoyed. And then I'm trying to think what happened recently. Oh, I got my GameCube fixed. And I was like, oh, I'd like to spend a little time with my GameCube, and my PlayStation went by the wayside for a little while, unfortunately, because and I'll go a little bit more into it on Whatcha Playing, but I've been playing some Tales of Symphonia, and still a banger. So, yeah.
I did find an article here from GamesBeat. It says Simu Liu. Is that how you say his name? Simu Liu stars as a faction leader in Stormgate. So he is Wars, which is the leader of the bad guys, the Infernal Host Army. So he's the voice of the big baddie. Anyways, go on here with a Ranger's question. My question for this week is, from time to time, the current conversation online is whether AAA games are sustainable moving forward, whether it's Final Fantasy 16, Rebirth, Spider-Man 2, etc. Would it be a better business model moving forward for AAA game development to release as episodic content? This way, in the case of Spider-Man 2, for example, instead of a $300 million budget, Sony could invest a quarter of that, or $75 million, to release the first quarter of the game, whether it's volumes, chapters, however they do it, of any AAA game. And if the game proved profitable, they could continue moving forward, moving the game forward in chunks. This way, there would be less risk. Perhaps we could see further exploration in the AAA space with new franchises along with existing ones in the future. What do you think? P.S. as a side TV note, the Old Man on Hulu FX starring Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow is outstanding. Season 2 is right on the corner. Do yourselves a favor and watch trailer for season 1 if you haven't. Keep up the good fight. I've not heard of that. Maybe I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I can put it on the list.
Check it out. I'll check it out. But anyways, this new AAA business model, how does that make you feel? I don't
hate it, but I also feel like I would be in the vast minority of people who would be okay with content being delivered like this. Now, and the only reason I say that is because imagine they charge you the full price up front, right? The full $70 up front, and they tell you it's going to come out in episodic chunks. If that chunk isn't very good, or B, because you know how people still conflate the length of a game with the worth of a game, right? Yeah. So if a chunk is too short, or if there's not enough to do in it, then people will riot in the streets. So
people were up in arms and losing their minds over Final Fantasy VII being split up into 3 games. And those games are chock full of content. So even if the games are chock full of content, people are belly aching about Final Fantasy VII being broke up into 3 games. So to break like Spider-Man or something like that, which is only like a 10 to 15 hour experience, like people would lose their minds. Granted, I mean, if what you mean, Rancher, is like each of the games would be 10 to 15 hours, then okay, maybe that could work. Like still, then with all 4 parts, you're looking at a 60-hour game or something. Right. Like, okay, yeah, that's not bad. I do not like this. I'll let you finish though.
Oh, I was just gonna say the only issue I think I would have is I don't know if this would mess with continuity as far as like an overall vision for game developer teams, right? Because if you're putting this out in 4 parts, are you just gonna have to end every part with like a fade to black and credits so that it just goes right into the next part? And then when you're done with all 4 parts, are you just gonna try to combine them into one big game? How are you gonna stitch that together?
Well, see, and that's why I don't like this, because even in what Rander proposed here, he says if the game proves profitable, they could continue moving forward with the game, moving the game forward in chunks. That's my fear right there. If one part suddenly doesn't perform quite exactly perfectly what they're looking for, imagine you're like halfway through the story and they just don't release anymore. Like it is just done. Like at least with like a full game release, you usually get the end of a story. Some games end on a cliffhanger, but usually like the story within the game is kind of like a bow, you tie a bow on it and finish it.
Right.
Up. But imagine like they split Spider-Man 2 up into or whatever, like I don't know, what if like God of War Ragnarok was all of a sudden like 4 parts and they got like 2 or 3 parts in and people just got tired of it and stopped buying it as much. Like I'll just wait for the 4th part, all 4 parts to come out or whatever, and then I'll buy it all. But then Sony's like, well, no one's buying it, so we're not going to keep going. That would be wild. Like just stop. I doubt they would, because that's such a big franchise. They'd probably still release it anyways and just cross their fingers and hope for the best. But just the fact that that's a possibility, that's what scares me, because we know how fickle game companies are. If they don't make
game companies, gamers.
And gamers, but game companies, I'm like, there's so many times where it's like, oh yeah, sequel gets canceled because such and such game didn't make how much they thought they were going to make. Like what is it? Like I feel like Capcom is one of the worst ones. Capcom and there's like another one, a Square Enix. Like they have like such unrealistic expectations at times. So it's just like
you haven't heard them belly aching about Final Fantasy 16 because it didn't sell 85 gajillion copies.
Yeah, it's like it still did incredibly well. What are you talking about?
It did great. It made its budget back, I think. So isn't that what matters?
Exactly. So that's my fear of it, is it gives them even more of an out than they already have. It makes it so much easier for them to invest less money. So in a sense, it's like if it's a new IP, it's less risk and possibly greater reward if it ends up paying off. But for established franchises, if it's like people start catching on to what they're doing, and it's like, or again, they just like, not every game hits. Sometimes a game might be, or there might be a lull in the wherever they're in those with the story. Like, I don't know. That'd be my fear, is like all it takes is one weird lull or one just weird instance, in the economy that causes people not to buy that game. Freaking COVID 20 happens, and suddenly we're all.
You joke, but monkeypox is around the corner, brother. I don't know if you've been hearing.
I've not, no. And then all like no one's buying games, and then they just stop making it. So I don't like that. I don't know. That scares me too much. I'd rather them just slim the budget down. And just
that's the ideal, of course.
Just work with it, make a full game within those boundaries. Like it's doable. Indies developers do it all the time on fractions of the budgets. Like people make games on they just rub 2 pennies together and make a game. So it's like
we said that before. That publishers like Sony or Microsoft should be like, hey, you have to make a game, and it has to be 15 hours, right? Or hey, you guys make a game, but you get $50 million to make it. Figure it out.
Yeah.
That brings out the best creatively in them. So Yeah, I don't know.
Carrie in the chat does say it's not so bad when they can be played as standalone games, but keep going, like what WoW is going to do with the World Soul Saga for the next 3 expansions. Yeah, like if they could pull that off where they are standalone expansions, that would be great. But then that feels like, I don't know if I would like that. Like for my video, you know what that would kind of feel like is maybe like would that almost be similar like a Telltale game where they kind of are episodic? But those ones don't really stand alone. Like you need to play.
No, you need all of them. Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah,
you can't just come in on chapter 3 and be like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that would be okay if they really did stand alone, but did fit together. But at that point, you're just dealing with, again, you're just making a sequel to the game, but instead of calling it, I don't know. It's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
Are they going to do it? Probably
no.
Not. But it is a interesting thing that I don't know. Again, there's too many cons in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. It's giving them an out to continue the practices that they already have that should be cut down in excess. So
exactly.
Rather than, like you said, address the problem and control your budget and control your vision. So.
Yep. Oh man. Well, thanks for that, Ranger. Appreciate it. The form submissions. Let me tell you, I almost forgot about it. Every time he's written in so far, like he writes in and it's like a week or 2 later, I finally remember to put in the show notes. This one I was on top of it. You wrote in, right? And I got on it. So
you got to make it part of your routine now. You got to just swing by the website box.
Or you could just join our Discord. It's free.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Supergamerboys.com/Discord. Just join.
There's always people in there.
I check the mailbag channel all the time.
I think he likes being a rebel. I think he likes being the outcast. He's like Batman sitting in the rafters, just like throwing a submission out there. It's like, I stand alone on this post.
Dropping form submissions on the website.
This is my post, and I will hold it. And you know what? I'm fine with that.
So good. So good. All right. Well, that's it for the mailbag this week. Now it's time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes.
Perfection. Absolute perfection. I love it. It was last week, actually, when Carrie was watching. She's like in the chat. It made me laugh because I always play it off like, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's perfect, Adrian. I don't hear any of it because Discord cuts it out. And she made that comment. She's like, oh, I forgot during the live streams it cuts out. You don't actually hear Adrian every week. So a little peek behind the curtain there. I'm faking it. Every time I say, oh, Adrian, that was so good. I have no idea. He could have not even. You could just, I don't know.
One day I should.
You could just be making any noise you want to make. You could be saying anything.
I should just mime it one day. You'll be like, it didn't get picked up in the audio either. What do I do? I'm gonna be like, well, Garrett, I guess you have to sing it and put it in post.
I'll steal it from a previous episode. Or no, I'll just re-record it terribly. So then everyone thinks it is you, but it's just like, wow, why is that so bad? Wow,
you would throw me under the... Okay, I'll remember that.
Oh, man. All right. Let's get into it. This first news story, if I can load my stuff. If I was actually prepared for this show, you know. This first news story comes to us from GameSpot, written by Luis Joshua Gutierrez. Switch 2 is not coming before April 2025, devs reportedly say. A number of developers believe the next Nintendo console may not be released until well into 2025. While speaking on the GI podcast, journalist Christopher Dring sought to clear up a popular rumor that Nintendo's successor to the Switch may be released by the end of the fiscal year, which ends on March 31st, 2025. No developer I have spoken to expects it to launch in this financial year. In fact, we've been told not to expect it in this financial year. A bunch of people I spoke to hope it's out in April or May. For what it's worth, Eurogamer said it corroborated this, noting that the next Switch console won't be released until April 2025 at the very soonest. Nintendo's upcoming console release date has been in question for some time now. It was previously expected out by the end of 2024, only to be reportedly pushed back to early 2025. Recent reports suggest that it's unlikely for the upcoming console to launch before April 2025. Earlier this year, Nintendo announced that it will reveal the Switch 2 by the end of this fiscal year. The new console is reportedly similar to the original Switch, which is interesting considering the changes from previous consoles like the Wii U to the Switch. The original Nintendo Switch was launched in 2017. Since then, various versions of the console have been made, including the Switch Lite and more recently, the Switch OLED. The upcoming console may use NVIDIA's custom variant T239 processor, which is capable of running Death Stranding at 1080p while maintaining 35 FPS.
35? Just make it 720/60.
I mean, well, so yeah, it's 1080 35, but I'm sure like that's what I'm picking up here is, yeah, when you play in handheld mode, it will be 720/60. It's just when you put on your dock that it'll probably be that 1080 35.
I don't give me the option. How about 960? I'll take it.
Yeah. For more information on what to expect on Nintendo's upcoming console, check out our story detailing everything we know. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So we're getting closer. I feel like every time we report on this, they narrow down the release date a little bit more. This is probably the most solid thing we've gotten though. Where like all the most believable. All the devs are coming forward and saying, yeah, I know we've heard this from Nintendo. Like this is the case. It's interesting in the chat here. Carrie says, I've heard it will be later in 2025 too. So that's, yeah, I know initially we were thinking it could have been early because like that April or May, similar to or not April or May, March. We were thinking like March-ish because that's when the first one came out. Oh, maybe it'll stick, with a similar timeline or something like that. But now I'm almost wondering if is it going to be one of those situations where, oh, it didn't come out in March, but it came out in April? Or is it going to be a situation where maybe they don't announce it until March and it really is like a fall or late summer release? Like, is that a possibility that we get it?
I think later? That's one of the two. If I were a gambling man, I would probably bet on two scenarios. One, they follow the original plan. They announce it in October, right? They do the little preview video like we got for the original Switch. And then the system comes out in April, which is a pretty good gap, right? That's what, 6 months that people get to, get your cash together, get your, you know what I mean? Get ready for launch, get your pre-order in. And then there's the other scenario where they wait until the fiscal year is over of 2025 and then April announce it, then release it or launch it probably September? Because you want to get it before the holidays. Yeah. And you want to give people time to make sure that they can get it before the holidays. So September, October, November, that's 3 months you have to get it before the holidays. So those two seem pretty viable. Yeah. If I had to gamble, I'd say October, April.
Yeah. October or April. What if now this is wild because this doesn't happen. It's usually like Nintendo's released in spring. Generally, Sony and Xbox release in fall, right before the holidays. This is wild because it's kind of, as far as I know, not been a popular slot.
Yeah, but they've got a clear runway.
What if they do like a summer release? Kids are out on summer. Kids are out on summer break. They got nothing else to do, and everyone's like, "Hey, let's get the family Switch too and play games together." Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but most people are putting their funds at that time like towards travel or towards a big summer outing or something like that. So that's why that's kind of dangerous. And most people usually aren't home. And I mean, granted, it's going to be a portable system, but really the big issue would be like everybody's traveling and your money's going towards traveling at that time.
Their whole marketing thing is like, take it on summer vacation with you anywhere.
Yeah, and then they're like, dude, we just paid $2,000 for this family vacation. We're not buying a Switch. I think the most reasonable for me is if they announce it in October with an event like they did before, or they announce it in October, they do an event in like November, December, and then it comes out in April. At the beginning of the next fiscal year.
A long lead up. Like, is that normally how long? Like, it just seems like a long time to be.
That's how long the original one was. It was just March instead of April.
Yeah, I guess it's a 1 month different, huh? Yeah, I guess I could get away with that. I mean, or they wait until because they usually do like a January, February direct, right? Is there a chance they just do it there and it's released only like 3 or 4 months later?
No, that's not enough of a lead up. You got to give people time to save up.
Yeah.
And to plan accordingly.
Well, who knows? Nobody knows at this point, but we're getting closer every time. We get a little bit more information. We're getting closer. I mean, obviously, as time goes on, we're going to know for sure because that's how time works. Mm-hmm. So hopefully sooner than later. So wait, what's the early? You're thinking there could be an event in November then?
I think they do a little preview in October. Like they drop the YouTube trailer in October.
Okay.
Then they do the onstage big showcase like they did last time. They do that again in November. And then the unit actually comes out in April. Because that gives people a really big runway. Because you have to also let people recover after the holidays too. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, put it in the calendars. Getting that Switch 2 event in October. Adrian said so. Industry Insider. Adrian Holmes.
I know you're mistaking me with Carrie.
Pocket Poppy over here. He's in the pocket of Nintendo, if you know what I mean.
I wish.
Carrie says what Adrian's saying would be ideal. I hope so. Heck yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's move on to this next news story.
Let's do it.
This next news story comes from Jez Corden over at Windows Central. Rumor, another big Xbox game is heading to PS5 to be announced next week. Another Xbox game is coming across to PlayStation if the latest round of rumors is to be believed. Earlier in the year, Microsoft torched its earlier promises to players that it would build permanently exclusive games for Xbox by initiating ports of its games to competing arch console rival PlayStation. Wow, they have some strong words here, Windows Central. I mean, they are Windows Central. They're obviously Microsoft fanboys over here, but this is some strong feelings coming from WindowsCentral.com. Arch console rival PlayStation. Oh man,
trying to stoke the fire where there is none, but okay.
Yeah, it has led to an ongoing doubt about Microsoft's commitment to the future of the Xbox platform and its users. Despite this, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella repeatedly claims to investors that Xbox has more console users than ever. Microsoft has even initiated plans to build a new generation of the next-gen Xbox hardware, which the firm claims will represent Xbox's biggest technological leap, while also doubling down on Xbox Game Pass with a day-one drop of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 slated for later this year, a first for the franchise. Some Xbox fans are concerned with that with Microsoft moving its exclusives out of the platform, fewer gamers will be interested in purchasing Xbox, leading to fewer developers wanting to build games for Xbox, putting the platform into a tailspin. The 4 ported games so far haven't exactly led to a mass exodus of users, but with games like Black Myth Wukong and Capcom's back catalog skipping the platform, the size of the install base has repeatedly led to questions about how much of a priority Xbox is for developers at large. For users with these concerns, the latest draft of rumors won't be comforting reading. Noted insider and generally loved Shinobi602 shared via a forum via Xbox Era that Xbox is planning to reveal another big Xbox game for PlayStation as soon as next week, the same week where Gamescom 2024 is taking place. Oh yeah, that's tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Opening night live. I got an invite to do a live stream of that, and I totally forgot to check in with that. I don't know if I will. That's too much work. I'll just watch it. I don't, unless people are interested. If anyone out there would watch, I'll stream it. I'll hang out.
I mean, do you really expect anything to be,
No, it sounds like it's just updates. It's a known quantity. They've already said what's going to be there and what's not going to be there. So on a forum, decorated industry insider Shinobi602 says, what are you doing next week? To questions of when the next Xbox ports to PlayStation's huge announcement. Sorry, I can't read. On a forum, decorated industry insider Shinobi602 says, what are you doing next week? To questions of when the next Xbox ports to PlayStation would be announced. Responding to a user discussion over the next round of games would be, he responded with that and then clarified further that he doesn't know if it will be multiple ports, but it will be at least a big one. Some users began speculating it could be Forza Horizon 5, Microsoft's flagship racing game. I'm going to skip down further in the article. But yeah, there's speculation that could be Forza. Maybe it's some bigger games like, where is it? Sorry, I'm skipping around the article because it's very wordy. I've already, Killer Instinct, State of Decay 2, Halo Master Chief Collection. So some older games maybe. Perhaps it could be even Hellblade 2, given the franchise's history on PlayStation. You know, the first one being a PlayStation exclusive initially. Mm-hmm. So there's also a large chance it could be related to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle by Machine Games, which so far has only been announced for Xbox and PC. Microsoft doesn't own the Indiana Jones IP naturally, and Disney might be keen to let PlayStation users know when to expect a version for their preferred platform. That would be wild. I don't know if it could be Indiana Jones. People would lose their minds if all this time
on the same day. Oh yeah, they flip out. They would
all this time. Yeah, they've been led to believe it's an
Xbox exclusive,
and then to be like, psych. That would not be good. That would not be good.
They would lose a lot of goodwill in that instance.
Yeah, but Halo, like it mentions Master Chief Collection, like I could see that, right? Like that's not.
We talked a little bit about this before the show, and I said that would literally probably break the internet. I think.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a good time on the internet for like a week. It would be a really bad place.
Well, even historically, I feel like just Halo being on another platform would be just like that. I was gonna say that's their number one, IP, but when you think about it, these days, right, the current market, I don't think it is their number one IP anymore. So maybe there is a chance that they want to expand it and get it back into more hands and in front of more eyes, at this point.
No, at this point, it's not a number one franchise, but it is still like the
Xbox franchise.
Yeah, just because of its history, it is the flagship franchise. Whether it's really like their number one, I don't think so. But yeah, like that's what Xbox started with. That was like the beginning. That's their baby. So it would be wild. And so yeah, for like a week or two, the internet would just be a horrible place. All the PlayStation people would just be rubbing it in the faces, and all the Xbox people would just be whining and complaining, and it would just be a disaster. But honestly, like to give it some juice, some life, it's not a bad way to go. Drop the Master Chief Collection and then like Infinite like down the road, maybe.
I mean, I will never say what one of these companies will do or won't do, because I'm not gonna look crazy and anything is possible. So it would just be so weird to see Halo on another platform is all. That's my biggest hurdle. But again, anything can happen. So
would be wild. I could almost see Forza. Now I know there's the competition with Gran Turismo, but
that would be my hang up.
I mean, there's for those people who I don't know, like I don't think, it wouldn't be a bad thing. Like if anything, it's just more option. And I mean, well, the rumor specifically is Forza Horizon, which Gran Turismo isn't like Forza Horizon. Like that's a niche.
And that's where they might be able to get away with it.
That's a niche that's not really covered on PlayStation. Like that niche was covered by third parties. That was what was that? Drive? No, it wasn't called Drive. What was it called? The Crew. Like the Crew by Ubisoft was around for a little bit, and then there's a couple other games that were kind of like
Need for Speed, of course.
Need for Speed, yeah, kind of, sort of, and like those have all dropped off. Like the Crew has literally got delisted. Like you can't even buy it anymore if you want to. And then
Burnout.
Yeah, but like Burnout and Need for Speed aren't really putting out games like that anymore. So I could see a Forza Horizon, honestly, and I would play it. That would be sick, As a PlayStation user, sure. Yeah. Give it to me. Just don't tread on my Gran Turismo. No Forza Motorsports, not allowed. Not allowed. Stay on Xbox.
If this sells, you better believe Forza Motorsport is coming.
Yeah, they're not going to sell anything.
We'll see.
What would be sad is like all of a sudden it becomes better selling than Gran Turismo, and then I would cry. I always loved Gran Turismo so much.
Well, I mean, we still haven't seen the pilot program for these yet, have we? Isn't like Grounded and a couple of other games supposed to be coming over this way?
Yeah,
have those come out yet?
I don't know. Actually, in this article, is too wordy. This article is too wordy to know for sure. Like I only read part of the article because there's too much going on. But okay, let me see. Okay, here's what you need to know. Microsoft hasn't been clear on what games would be ported, leading to a ton of speculation. So far, Pentiment, Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, and Sea of Thieves have moved across. So according to this, they've already come over, which I know Sea of Thieves for sure. And Hi-Fi Rush as well.
Such a whimper. I forgot it even happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was like big at the time because it was the big new announcement, but very quickly kind of just dissipated real quick. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, the rumor is that it's coming out this week. So with our luck, when this comes out Wednesday, it will have already been announced, and this whole segment's for nothing. And
or they'll just drop it during opening night live.
And well, that's what I'm saying. Like when this comes out Wednesday, it's going to ruin our whole content schedule. So thanks Xbox for ruining everything.
Jeff.
This clip is going to come out on Thursday. Everyone's going to be like, you dummies, it was this
What are you
game.
talking about? They already said what it was. God, why don't they ever pay attention to the news?
Yeah, well.
You live under a rock, bro.
All right. This last news story comes to us from PC Gamer, written by I can't say his name.
Take your time.
La 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 la. I need to do
breathe in.
I didn't do my vocal warm up, so my tongue is all twisted here. Harvey Randall over at PC Gamer writes, a Red Dead Redemption PC port was proudly announced on the store page for the PS4 version of all places. This morning, several of the fine writers on PC Gamer, including myself, were staring at a store page description for Red Dead Redemption on the PlayStation website, trying to figure out just why we were looking at a proud chest-puffed announcement of a PC port for Red Dead Redemption, a game that hasn't seen a PC release since its debut back in 2010 because, well, it was on the store page for the PlayStation 4. It's been taken down now, but I luckily had the wherewithal to snap my own screenshot. Mind, we were only looking at it, the dang thing, because of quick draw observers like the prolific eagle-eyed industry tweeter Wario64. Still, unless we were experiencing a collective hallucination, I can absolutely confirm the store page read the following. Experience the epic Western adventures that defined a generation, now on PC for the first time ever. The not announcement then goes on to describe the port as having both Red Dead Redemption's baseline 2010 game as well as the Undead Nightmare expansion. Featuring the complete single-player experiences of both games, including bonus content from the Game of the Year edition, Red Dead Redemption features all of the 2023 console version upgrades, plus PC-specific enhancements, including support for increased resolutions and frame rates, multiple displays, and other accessories, plus spatial surround sound. That's wild. It's an entire ad for the PC version on the PlayStation Store. How do you mess that up? Like,
somebody got the images mixed up.
But why would PlayStation even have this information in the first place? Like Mr. Rockstar PR guy, either like the only way PlayStation would have this is if he accidentally emailed it to him, because
so it's Rockstar PR then.
This write-up should have only gone to Steam. But for some reason Sony got their hands on it and they didn't think to check it. They just posted it. That's the wild thing. So Sony is just like, yup.
I honestly, it's probably just automated. Like it reads what, like they probably tell publishers, hey, make sure you send your stuff in this format of text on the folder so that our automated system can sort it out and post it up.
Yeah. It's something. I don't know. It's wild. The one exception to this glut of features is an absence of multiplayer content, which is a shame, but in keeping with the lack of online support for the PS4 version released last year. The announcement itself is a real head scratcher. If a PC port is in the works, why would the wires be crossed so badly? Its announcement copy was dumped on the PlayStation Store page. Rockstar is owned by Take-Two Interactive, not Sony. So if the studio wanted to stay tight-lipped about the announcement, I'm not sure why it's sending press releases off to its mates. There's also the hilarious alternative that this is something Sony drafted up, being given the news, in which case, oops. That's the other theory is that Sony wrote it up, anticipating, like maybe they got some insider information. They wrote it up.
Oh, and had it queued up, ready to go.
Yeah, and then turns out it hasn't been announced yet. So. While we've seen data mined info in the past months that heavily hint at a port, there's no guarantee the thing's even coming soon. It's entirely possible someone at Rockstar, Sony, or its PR companies drafted up this company months in advance and just popped its head up above the trenches on complete accident. That's so. I mean, I could see this coming out sooner than later, only because like the console ports of the game came out last year. So it's been a year. There's no reason why it shouldn't be on PC by now. But what a wild story. Like, this is so funny. Like, this thing has been rumored for so long. And then to get like this kind of sort of confirmation basically through Sony of all places. Like, yep, coming to PC.
Yeah, it's coming all right.
It's going to have all these features.
Too bad.
Higher resolutions, multi-display support, all blah, 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 all this stuff. It's like, wait, what? This is so wild.
When did we talk about this? Huh?
Oh, man. Yeah, I can't imagine like whoever made this mess, whether it was the PR guy, someone at Take-Two, someone at Sony who for some reason felt like they needed to write an ad for freaking Red Dead Redemption. They are having a bad day that day, I'm sure. They were probably like,
they're fired.
Step into my office real quick.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely fired, whoever it is.
Oh man, like there's like, this isn't even just like, there's no way to do this accidentally. Like along the way, there was a very intentional thing that happened here. Yogurt Archangel in chat says incinerated 100%. Like there's no accident about this. This was like intentional at some point, or just complete negligence. Like, is this absolute, like, not actually paying attention at their job, which
also would constitute a firing if it were of this magnitude. So
exactly. Oh man, so wild. I don't have much more to add to it, but I saw this was such a funny and wild story. I had to share it. So look forward to that. I do love me some Red Dead Redemption. I missed or maybe just forgot that they ported it to consoles last year. Kind of tempted to pick it up. I haven't played this game in a long time. I really enjoy it. But I also feel like I need to just play the sequel because everyone says it's so good. So dang good. It's like,
that's all I hear is it's a master. I'm not saying it's not. It very well could be because the first game was phenomenal. So I just need to sit down and dedicate the time. But then Ranger just got on my case about not playing Final Fantasy 16. So which one is it going to be?
Final Fantasy 16. Don't be dumb. Don't be stupid, Adrian. I know you're smarter than that. It's Final Fantasy 16.
It is, but it's also Red Dead 2. So
yeah,
these are similar caliber games. I'm just saying.
We'll see. So yeah, stay tuned for maybe that's the big game that's getting announced this week. Not an Xbox game. Rockstar is coming out saying the PC port's coming. Who knows?
I mean, they did just have that big buddy moment with Square Enix at the Final Fantasy 14 event where they were like, oh, really? Yeah, Square Enix are our homies and we're having more Square Enix titles come in the near future for Xbox. So you never know.
Yeah, what if it's the other way around? Sorry, this is going back to the last news story. But what if it's not Xbox game going to PlayStation? What if it is like Remake and Rebirth coming to Xbox?
It very well could be because the exclusivity has been up.
Yeah, at least
and
for
if that's
Remake.
the case, yeah, for Remake for sure.
That would be
I wouldn't. We could see it tomorrow or we could see it Wednesday, opening night. You never know.
Crazy.
Or doesn't Xbox have a showcase at Gamescom?
They might. I don't know. Gamescom comes and goes every year, and I always forget about it. Like a lot of times it happens, and I'm like, it's always next week when I'm putting the show notes together. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of articles from Gamescom. Did that happen? Oh yeah, I totally missed it. This is like the first year I'm aware that it's even happening, so it is wild because big things get announced there sometimes, not all the time, but yeah, we'll see. We will see what happens this week. That's it for the nerdy nudes. So that means it is time for a Patreon ad.
Roll them.
All right, this is the part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us over there starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1 gets you episodes early and ad-free all month long. You get access to this show immediately after this. If you're watching live on Mondays when we record, maybe you showed up late or you weren't able to catch the whole thing, or maybe you're not able to come all together. Well, you could be supporting us on Patreon. As soon as the show goes down, I get that edited, get that uploaded. So then all of our Patreon folks have access to the full edited, cleaned up version of the show with no ads. You don't have to listen to this. All the intro music, all the sound effects, all the fun, crispy audio goodness and video. So think about supporting us at just $1 and you get that, as well as access to our Patreon exclusive content, such as Super Later Boys and some other, season 1 of Superhero Book Club, and ad-free versions of pretty much our entire catalog. So go check that out. $5 a month, you can support us there and get previous perks that I mentioned there and the show notes. So if you want to know what we're going to be talking about each and every week, support us there. You'll see the news stories. You'll see the questions. You'll see what we're playing. Everything we talk about is on there, and you can leave your own questions, comments, concerns, thoughts on the doc for us to read during the show. So say you're not able to be here Monday nights when we record on Twitch and YouTube and be in the chat and talk to us here. Well, you could leave those thoughts right on that doc. We'll read it on the air. You can still have your voice heard on the episode. And so think about supporting us there. $5 a month. Not that much. It's like what? Starbucks coffees are more than that. Starbucks coffee. I went to Starbucks. I'm getting off track here. I don't go to Starbucks often. I haven't been there in a long time, being unemployed and all. But I went there recently because I had like a gift card. And I was shocked. I had like a $10 gift card. Like, I can get 2 drinks with that. You can't get 2 drinks at Starbucks with a $10 gift card. They are very expensive. And all I get is like a cold brew. You know? Anyways, I digress. $10 a month. You can support us for $10 a month. Be a Patreon. Why can't I ever remember the name of these levels? I made these. That is a Super Gamer sponsor, $10 a month. And you get all those previous perks and a big old shout out at the top of each and every episode. We love our sponsors. It's so fun reading their names each and every week. I also love reading the top dog tier, their names as well. That's right, our Patreon producers. $15 a month. You get all those previous perks. You get the shout outs. You get the early and ad-free episodes. You get the Patreon exclusive content. You get the show notes, and you get to pitch us a segment. You can get it vetted ahead of time. Check in with us. See what if we're warm or cold on it. Give us a general idea, and then support us over there at that $15 a month. And you got a segment on your hands, whether it's here for in-show, whether it happens on our social media, whether it's a separate video that we upload to our YouTube later on, whatever it might be, whatever idea you have, pitch it, send it our way. We'd love to hear it, love to give it a shot. All you got to do is support us at the Patreon producer level. We love to do that. It's always fun. Love those guys. Love all the folks who support us on Patreon. They're all incredible. And if you want to be awesome like them, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. You can also support us by going over to sgbstore.com, where you can buy our sweet merch. Tonight, I've been sipping out of my Summer Gamer Boys glass. Check that out. Summer Gamer Boys on one side, our beautiful faces on the other. We got t-shirts, we got glasses, we got swim shorts, we got hats. We got all sorts of fun stuff. So go check that out, please. It's probably not going to last much longer. I'm working on the next collection, and when that new collection comes out, I imagine the old one will go away. So swing on by sgbstore.com, get it while it's hot. And yeah, we'd love to see you folks in it. So if you do pick it up, send us a picture. Tag us on social media. We'd love to see you in our merch. Last but not least, you can subscribe over on Twitch if you're watching live on Monday night, or when Garrett's live on Tuesdays, or when Adrian's live on Thursdays. Twitch.tv/the Super Gamer Boys. You can support us over there starting. I think typically you can subscribe. It's like $6 now, but I got a little insider tip for you. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link that to your Twitch account. Use your free Prime Gaming subscription. That's right. Now it costs you $0. We still get the same kickback we get if you spent that $6 sub. But you get it for free. Doesn't cost you anything. And now you have access to our channel ad-free. You've helped support our channel. You get access to our emotes. And you also get access to a plethora of other cool little perks of being a Prime Gaming sub, like free games or free stuff for League of Legends if you're a nerd or whatever. So go check it out. Prime Gaming, the Twitch, I think it's called the Amazon Prime Gaming. Link your Amazon account to your Twitch account. Drop that sub on us. It doesn't re-up every month. You got to remember to do it. So please, if you haven't already, think about dropping that on our channel. And with that, it's now time to get back to the show. All right, Adrian, I'm back. You're back. I saw something in your hand there. Just a little sneak across the screen real quick. A little flash of something in your hand.
Just a quick little tease, you know.
And it got me real excited. So
What would you like to know?
I would like to know what you've been playing.
Oh, good buddy. Let me tell you. I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it last week too. My GameCube is back in working order. She's good as new. Getting ready to celebrate her 2024? Her 23rd birthday here in November. That's awesome. I believe. So I've been spending a lot of time. I just had a couple of things I was just gonna quick flash on the screen. Okay. Of course, I've been going through and catching back up on Old Faithful, Animal Crossing. Ooh, you don't want to know. You don't want to know how many weeds were in my village when I got back on that save
file. You picked up with your save. You didn't start a new one. You went. Oh, no. Okay.
No. It was insane how many weeds were in there. So I've been picking away at that.
What did your villagers say when they saw? They're like, it's been 82 years.
You look. This is real deal Animal Crossing where they can be mean. Okay. Oh, you don't want to know some of the things that they've said. They've hurt my feelings. Okay.
No.
So yeah, I've been doing that. And then also I mentioned before, I've been playing a little Tales of Symphonia, aka one of my first Tales game in the Tales series. Way back in the day. Absolutely fantastic game. Fantastic story. Good to see Lloyd and the crew back again. And the battle system is really, really good. It's how do you put it? It's active, but you can still plan your moves out a little bit and execute your specials. And it does like a little cut scene when you pull off your special move. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Anime cutscenes. They make the characters do like little anime portraits when they talk to each other when you're out in the world. No, this game rules.
I've never played a Tales game. Okay, it's on Steam. That Tales of Symphonia is?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the best way to play it, honestly, is on GameCube. But if you can, actually, you have your Wii. You can just put it on there.
I know there's lots of Tales games though. Is Symphonia one of the better ones, like to start with? They don't build off each other, right? It's similar to Final Fantasy where they're all
similar, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where they're like distant relatives of one another.
Right.
Like there's hallmarks in them. Yeah, I would say that one.
So Tales of Symphonia, it says Tales of Symphonia remastered. There's a remaster?
Yeah, that's the one that came out, and everybody was like, there's a lot that they could have done better with these.
That's too bad.
So that's what I was saying. If you could find like the original cut, I would probably do that.
Okay. Interesting.
And then lastly, I've been playing the hardest racing game known to man, aka F-Zero GX.
Oh, jeez.
This game, this game is so difficult, but it's so good. A rock solid 60 frames a second, but the cars go at 800 miles an hour. It feels like. Like you have to, this is one of the few games where, you know how like in Mario Kart, when you do 200 cc's, you actually have to brake. You have to brake in this game. Okay. You have to brake and you have to drift or you will die. Like your car will blow up and you will die.
That reminds me of like, there's like a PlayStation 1 game. It's called like Jet Moto or something like that. Mm-hmm. It was like these jet ski, but they're like hover bike things that you fly around on. And that always felt like, I mean, as a kid, I haven't played it in, I don't know, decades at this point, but it always felt like same thing, like so freaking fast. Like she's like, you gotta ride the brake basically. It's otherwise impossible.
Yeah,
man.
Awesome. So yeah, I've been going back and forth between those three, just having a blast, just being glad that, you know, my baby's back.
That's awesome.
So but exciting. Enough about me, Mr. Morlang. What have you been playing, or what have you been suffering through? Because I know one of the things you're gonna have to talk about.
Yeah. So last week I talked about a game called Let Bygones Be Bygones. This game they really got me. They tricked me. They got me. And it's wild because I'm curious. Is there a Metacritic for it?
They got me. They tricked me.
They really pulled a fast one on me. Okay. All right. So it's pretty mixed. One person gave it an 80 out of 100. That's extremely generous. Then the other two is like 70 and 60. So I could give it a 6 out of 10. That feels right. Yeah. Okay, so this is a PC game. This was the indie game I talked about last week. It was supposed to be good, but it wasn't. Having lost everything, a retired hardboiled detective John Cooper must take his last case to find a missing upper-class girl among the lowest parts of the dystopian city planet Terra Hive. Choose your unique path in this atmospheric narrative future noir thriller. By Bohemian Pulp, which, as far as I know, hasn't made anything else. They're working on another game, but I don't think it's out yet. Yeah, so last week I talked about the dialogue was horrendous. Like, the writing was so bad. The voice acting was bad. And the general just story and direction as well was just kind of like, I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm kind of interested, but you're losing me. You're losing me. At times, and after finishing it, I was able, and taking a week to think about it, I was able to kind of put my thoughts together. Sometimes it felt like things were overcomplicated just for the sake of overcomplicating it. Like, it almost felt like in their minds, the people who wrote this game, it's like, oh, if we make it complicated and throw these terms around and words, and like that just makes the world feel more fleshed out and lived in. When in reality, when you have no reference or point of reference or in no way to learn more about those things, it just is frustrating and confusing and annoying, you know? So yeah, I finished the game. At first I was thinking like, I might just leave it. You know, it's not a long game, but I had a hard time all week. I'm like, I don't want to play it. I kept saying I need to finish it, but I don't want to. So I actually on Thursday or Friday last week picked up a different game. So then it wasn't until like today I finally like I need to finish it. I was super close to the end. Like I was just 30 minutes maybe from the end, really close. And I finish it up, and man, this is just a jumbled mess. Now I know the whole point of this game is you play it over and over again, because as your character, like your decisions does change how the story plays out. And it changes what dialogue options you have, and it changes the entire, like there's multiple endings, like there's all these different things. But I feel like I played it like pretty good, but I got this really crappy ending that, well, I mean, it was a bad ending, but still kind of ended good, but it didn't feel earned, if that makes sense.
Now,
like,
you said there are multiple.
Yeah, there are multiple endings and different ways to play through it. But it was this weird, like I felt like I played pretty good. Like I didn't, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain it because there's like 3 or 4 different quote unquote paths you can go down, and things that can happen in different orders and whatnot that changes the ending. I just didn't get the ending I was expecting with the path I played. Like it was very confusing. And that's where I want to get to. I want to address what I talked about last week with this game. When it launched, we talked about this last week. When it launched, it wasn't finished. Like Act 3 was not in the game. It took like 2 or 3 weeks later, like a month later, they finally released Act 3.
Absolutely nuts.
Let me tell you, they released it, but it still does not feel done. Like literally the third act of this game was just a bunch of like glorified cutscenes. Like Act 2 ends with whatever decision. Like Act 2 almost felt like the actual ending of the game. Like it just like ends. It's not actually tied up nicely or anything. Like it's just a bunch of loose ends. And then Act 3 is just like a bunch of like pseudo, like, oh, you kind of have agency to make more choices and answers, but really it's just like, all right, here's how it's just ending. And it's just like a bunch of cutscenes that it goes through, and it's like, what the heck is happening? I was really sad. And I told you before the show, I was like, this is the first time I got bit in the butt by an indie game. I've played so many good like indie games, and they've all been incredible. And it hit me the other night. I even told Trudy, I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, Adrian has recommended every indie game I've ever played. That's all I've ever known. And the one time I go rogue, the one time I go out of my own,
you venture out on your own,
I get bit in the butt with this piece of garbage. It's not a piece of garbage. It's fine.
Not
That's the
what
thing.
you were looking for.
It's just so mediocre and also so buggy. Like it's just like, just fix the bugs. That's not going to help it. That might bump it to like a 6.5. It's still, the story was just so disappointing. And again, I know it's like, all right, in order to get the full experience, I should play it like 15 times to get all the different endings. And it's like, now, if you can't grab me in the first one, I don't know if I can do any more. So yeah, that was a bummer. But all is well, because like I said, on Friday, I decided to play a different game when I was really feeling sad about Let Bygones Be Bygone. I was depressed, let me tell you. And I was like, let me pick up a different game. Another indie game that I knew was a banger. One published by Devolver Digital. I don't think it was developed by them, right? It's just published by them. But they know how to pick them. They know how to pick them. That is Cult of the Lamb.
Let's freaking go, my boy.
Cult of the Lamb.
I love to hear you've been playing this. Tell me all about it.
Cult of the Lamb is so freaking good. I started it maybe like a year or so ago. I've had it for a while, and I got through the tutorial, and it's like, this is fun. I like where this is going. Something else was around, so I didn't stick with it. It was like, I think I got it on sale on Steam around the time I got my first Steam Deck. So like a couple years ago, like my 64 gig, like standard definition one. But yeah, this game is so good. Cult of the Lamb is a roguelike video game developed by indie developer Massive Monster. That's who it's by. But yeah, you are this lamb. I guess I'll just, Cult of the Lamb is centered around a lamb controlled by the player, who's tasked with forming a cult in order to appease the deity, the One Who Waits, who, having saved the player character's life at the start of the game, instructs them to embark on a roguelike style crusades by venturing out into one of the game's 4 regions in order to defeat various enemies, so-called heretics, and to find or rescue other captured or lost animals in order to create and grow a cult a cult following dedicated to the player. The randomly generated world contains resources to gather, perks and weapons to collect, enemies in the form of rival cultists and non-believers to fight, and other animals to rescue. These animals can be indoctrinated into the player's cult. They have appearances that can be changed, both positive and negative traits, which can affect how they act in the cult or how they react to the player's actions regarding the cult. This game has an incredible art style. I love it. Like, it's so cute, and for like what it is, like it's you're making this like satanic cult basically, and it's like, but it's like this cutesy little lambs and deers and frogs and little animals. Absolutely loving the art style. The combat is so much fun. Going into each level, it reminds me of Dead Cells, like not knowing what weapon you're going to get at the beginning. Like, all right, what's going to randomly give me? Oh, I get the axe this time. All right, going to deal some crazy damage. Or hey, we're going to get the sword this time. All right, real fast attacks in there. The combat. You also get like these spell attacks. They call them curses. Those are a lot of fun to use. I don't know. I love the humor in the game. Like, again, it's such like a dark topic, but between the art style and like the humor in there, there's this one that one of my cultists came up to me because they give you like while you're like, obviously a big part of the game is going out on these crusades and fighting the bad guys. There's like 4 main big baddies that you got to take down in order to rescue your deity or whatever. But when you're not out, it's like a base builder. Like, you're managing a base. You have to manage like food resources for your cultists. You gotta give them jobs to do: cut down wood, mine for rocks, smelt things into like, salt bricks and stuff like that. You gotta deal with sanitation, clean up poop, build outhouses. So you have someone to go to the bathroom. You can go back and go to your temple and preach sermons and like do rituals and all this stuff. But anyways, I had this cultist come up to me. He was like mid chop. He was just out there chopping some wood down. And he was like, all of a sudden ran up to me and has a little symbol above his head. It's a side quest. So I talked to him and I'm like, and he goes like, hey, leader, I have this great prank. If you're interested, I would love to try. And he was like, I think it would be hilarious to feed this other cultist a bowl of poop and see what happens.
Yep.
And I'm just like, what the heck is this game? I was like, you know what? Let's see what happens. I'm curious now too. And so I did. Like, you go collect the poop because after they poop in the outhouse, you go clean up the outhouse. You can make this dish. It's like a bowl of poop, cooked poop soup, and you feed it to this character that he wanted to prank. And obviously the character gets very ill. You have to send them to bed or else they're going to die. So he's on bed rest for like a week, not working. So I'm like, well, that wasn't worth it because now he's not working. I need wood. I need rocks. I need materials. But when you go back to the person to complete the quest, he's just dying laughing. He's like, oh, that was awesome. Oh, that was so hilarious. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And then he like levels up big time, like tons of experience. But what's hilarious too is like a week later, in game time, he comes back and he wants to do it a second time to the same person. And let me tell you, I'm a terrible person. I did it a second time. He literally just finished healing from the first time he was sick. And then I did it again. And I was like, I felt so bad. But at the same time, hey, that one cultist is super leveled up, like doing stuff like that. Like, he's like,
you better put him to work.
He's like, I'm like, all right, we got to keep this guy around and have him work hard because he's super dedicated. Because I guess keep going along with his stupid pranks. But then there's other requests too, like, oh, like, could you add some decorations or someone before I had outhouses are like, we would love to like go to the bathroom in private. Could you build 2 outhouses for us, please? So there's like,
have you had to convert any heretics yet?
Yeah, I mean, after you come back from the crusade, sometimes you find heretics out in the field and you send them back and you can convert them. And I love the customization options. Like, so they might come back as like a weird like creature or like a deer or a rabbit or whatever. But when you indoctrinate them, you can choose to customize them any way you want. So like, I actually want a frog or a whatever, like kind of thing, which is really fun. You can change their look. You can change their name. Like, we're giving you a new name. There's Twitch integrations too, which I don't know if I would ever play this on Twitch just because I'm having so much fun with it. I just want to play it all the time on my own. But it has Twitch integrations where like your viewers can make, like when you indoctrinate people, you make characters after your viewers and stuff like that.
I saw that.
And or like allow them to like vote and make decisions on stuff within the game, apparently something like that. But I just thought that was hilarious. Like imagine having a whole like group of people with like Carrie and Yogurt Archangel and just like a bunch of random people in the chat. That would be so awesome. So maybe down the road, maybe if I finish it and I just want to do like a for fun playthrough online or something, I don't have anything else to stream, that'd be kind of cool. But loving the game so far. Yeah,
I'm glad to hear it,
highly recommend it. It looks gorgeous on OLED. Holy smokes. Playing on my Steam Deck, playing on Steam Deck OLED. So it's around that like smooth 60 FPS with like just gorgeous visuals. It looks so good, feels so good. 10 out of 10 so far. I have no complaints. Like I've just been so addicted to it. I played a little bit on Friday and then I played a lot last night, and I've already put like 5 hours into it. So basically most of that was just last night. Like I stayed up super late just going to town on this game. Highly recommend. Did you finish it, Adrian?
Yeah, I beat the original campaign. Okay. And then they've added a lot of expansions since then. Yeah. And I'm thinking, man, like, do I want to go back and see what the new expansions are? But then I have to re-immerse myself and relearn all the mechanics and, get my time management skills back up to par. And I feel like that's going to take a pretty good investment, which I'm not opposed to making. But yeah, we'll just have to see where that goes. They've added real quick. They've added co-op mode. I don't know if it's online co-op, but it might just be couch co-op. But if it is online, if you're interested, we can always try it out. I could join you. You could join me. That'd be kind of fun. I don't know. Hopefully, what that's progress saves.
Yeah, I wonder how that works. Might need to look into that more.
But yeah, man, I'm glad you dig it. Cult of the Lamb is amazing. And Carrie in the chat said, "Awesome. Cult of the Lamb has been on my to playlist for a long time." Carrie, play it. Do it. It rules.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Fantastic. I love it too, because it's like you said, there's time management and all that, but I like it because it has the perks of, and you're going to be like, Garrett, no, this is totally wrong, but just bear with me. It works in my brain. I love how it has the feeling of like an Animal Crossing, but I don't have to wait like real time. Like I don't have to wait a whole day. Like the in-game days go by pretty quick. So it's like, okay, so I can just experience multiple days with it, like in-game, and like build things and get things going and not have to wait like a whole day or two for things to happen, like in an Animal Crossing type game. And that I played on stream one time. Was it Bear and Breakfast? That like bed and breakfast game.
I never got around to that one.
I ended up dropping off it because there was too much stuff that I ran into that was like connected to out of game time. Like I was like, oh, I'm streaming this. I want to keep playing it, but I can't. I just had to like wait. I'm like, all right, wait 24 hours. I'm like, well, that's dumb. So I got like locked out of things. But also could have been a bug too. I don't know. It was hard to tell if it was a bug or if it was, or what it was. I enjoyed what I played of it. This is going way back. I talked about this on previous episodes. I remember really liking it, and then like it just getting stuck, and I was like, okay, do I just have to wait? And I never went back. So who knows? Oh, Carrie even says it was buggy too. So maybe that was the issue. Maybe it wasn't actually out of game time. It was busted, but
maybe if I find it on a deep discount, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. So this game I love how it's just like, all right, it's the base builder and like world building, kind of like you can customize your little compound however you want, but it's all quick, snappy, no wait time at all. Just get it done, which is great. All right. Well, that is it this week for the show. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you, whether you're watching here live Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys or youtube.com/supergamerboys. or listening later, whether it's on podcast apps around the world or youtube.com/supergamerboys, where we post the video. Thank you. We appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are all incredible. We would probably still do this without you, but honestly, it would be a lot harder, a lot less fun. So we appreciate you. You guys make it fun to do, and with your support, we're able to make some cool stuff. So,
absolutely.
And going back to that, if you do want to support us, patreon.com/supergamerboys. Be like those awesome folks that we shout out at the top of each and every episode, or that you see their names in the description. If you want to be one of those, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/supergamerboys. We'd very, very much appreciate it. You can also support us at sgbstore.com, buy some sweet merch. As I was mentioning earlier, it's getting close to the fall here. We might have a new collection, may or may not. I need to
the best season of the year.
I need to get my button gear and finish it up, but we're hoping to maybe have a new collection at some point. And when that happens, summer collection probably going bye-bye. So if you want
retired
summer merch, pick it up, because once it's gone, who knows, might be gone forever.
Pick it up, put it in a vacuum bag. You can wear it next year.
Heck yeah. Rate and review us where you can, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Music. I just saw Apple Podcast. I meant to say Apple. I said Apple Music. I meant to say Apple Podcast. I just got an email today. Apple Podcast is now available in browser. So even if you don't have an Apple device, you can listen to our podcast and leave a rating and review. So if you're on Android, go to Apple Podcast and leave a review on our podcast now. Do it. That would be awesome. Help us get noticed on the old podcast apps. That helps tremendously. Shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate and DJ Trooz for allowing us to use their music on the show. Tonight we've been listening to Jack Sriracha and Yate. Find their music right now on Apple Music and Spotify. Click on those links. If you're listening or watching later, they should be in the description. If you're watching live, just going to have to take our word for it and just do the good old Google search. But Jack Sriracha and Yate, they make some fantastic stuff. Love it. Thank you very much for tonight's tunes. All right, during the week, you can find us over at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. I am on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian, where can the people find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere on this here internet at Homeboy, HOLMBOI.
All right, that's it. Nothing else.
Sounds like a plan. Folks, as Garrett just said, thank you for hanging out with us for another episode of the Super Gamer Boys podcast. As always, we appreciate any and all forms of support, whether that's here with us live on the stream, watching the VOD, listening to the audio podcast, or picking up some merch. It all helps supports us and continues to let us to do what we love, and that's sitting here hanging out with you guys and with each other, talking about this wide world of video games and how Garrett can't pick them. But that's okay.
I try.
You tried, and you'll get better. Like I said, it's a muscle. You got to work it. With all that said, folks, as always, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
All right, now go. I'm sure you got to go. I'm sure you got to go clock in, huh? You got to go to the bathroom.
I gotta make that cash, baby.
You got to go clock in. Pee for money.
Pee for money.